Hi everyone, it's me Leslie here with another video. Thank you so much for watching my video and thank you so much for subscribing. Today I'm doing a storytime discussion to talk a little bit about how we are all worthy. I was just doing a little bit of thinking about how sometimes we can believe that one life is more valuable than another life. A month or so ago, I had a dream. My mom is ill, and a couple times I've had dreams about her, as she can't really communicate her thoughts to me anymore. Sometimes I have dreams about her that help me feel like we're still connected. And so a month or so ago, I had a dream. I was in a restaurant and it was crowded. And I think because it was so crowded, I felt so immensely alone. I was standing in a line waiting to be seated at this restaurant, and there was a couple in front of me, and they were seated. And then it was my turn to be seated, but I was all alone, and I didn't understand why I was there. And then all of a sudden, my mom walked through this crowded restaurant carrying a slice of cake for me and gesturing for me to come over. And I went over, and all of a sudden, I no longer felt alone. I felt loved and comforted and valued, and I had a place to sit. I had a seat at the table. And thinking about that dream I had caused me to reflect on a movie that I initially saw several years ago, and some of you may know it, What Dreams May Come. And in that movie, Robin Williams was trying to find his wife who was in hell after committing suicide. And he saw her in a sea of faces, and all of a sudden he had a flashback to a scene where they were both alive and talking, and the wife had said, sometimes when I'm on the dance floor and you don't join me, I feel like I'm all alone in a sea of faces. And what I'm trying to say is that until we truly feel like we belong somewhere, or until we truly feel like maybe somebody's welcoming us, or glad that we're there in a place, a situation, sometimes we can feel so utterly alone and isolated, and it feels like there's no one out there that cares about us. In life, it's so easy to only consider ourselves and our family, our loved ones. We just want to make sure we, or our family, or our loved ones are okay, and forget the rest, forget the masses, forget everyone else. As long as my situation, my family, as long as we're okay, damn the rest. And what I'm saying in this video is it's important to remember that we are all worthy. We are all worthy of care, concern, and love. What goes around comes around. If it can happen to this family over here, it can happen to my family here. Many times during the day, at night, I look at my beautiful girls, and I think to myself, what if I weren't able to provide them any food? How would I feel? Because there are people right now that can't provide their children with any food. and not because of any fault of their own. Their children's suffering, and their suffering is also my suffering. What goes around comes around. We are all worthy. We are all worthy of care and compassion and concern. If it can happen to someone else, it can happen to us. So it's important to not have a "at least I got mine" mentality. Because at the end of the day, we are all connected. And what happens to one can happen to another and can happen in turn to us. What goes around comes around. In this life, it's important to try to have care and compassion for all humans, not just ourselves or just our loved ones. It's important to remember that we're all connected. So that's all in this video today. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, bye.